someone trying to be liked. Jung spent decades studying how the mind buries traits it considers unacceptable. He believed we don't destroy these traits. We hide them, deep in the unconscious, and then we meet them again, disguised as other people. Today, you'll learn how to spot your shadow in the people who irritate you, why this happens, and what to do once you see it. Let's start with the obvious one. Think of someone who annoys you because they're arrogant. They talk over people. They brag. They take credit that isn't theirs. Your reaction feels justified, obviously arrogance is unpleasant. But Jung would ask a harder question. Somewhere in your past, were you punished for being confident? Did someone teach you that taking up space was dangerous? If so, you didn't get rid of your own confidence. You buried it. And now, when you see someone expressing the very thing you had to silence, your body reacts before your mind can explain why. Here's the second sign, and it's sneakier. You feel disproportionate anger at people who are lazy or who rest without guilt. You watch someone take a slow Sunday, skip a deadline, say no to extra work, and something in you tightens. Ask yourself honestly, were you ever allowed to rest without earning it first? If rest was something you had to justify, you didn't just learn discipline. You learned to suppress a need. And now anyone who meets that need openly becomes, in your eyes, a problem to correct. Now here's where it gets more personal. Notice how strongly you react to people who are described as too emotional. Maybe you roll your eyes when someone cries in a meeting, or calls out unfairness loudly, or refuses to stay calm about something that upset them. This reaction often runs deepest in people who were taught, early on, that emotion was weakness. If you had to become composed to survive your environment, then unfiltered emotion in someone else doesn't just seem unprofessional to you, it seems threatening. Because it reminds your nervous system of a version of you that had to disappear. There's a fourth sign, and this is the one most people miss completely. It hides in praise, not criticism. Notice who you admire a little too much, the person who seems endlessly free, endlessly bold, endlessly unbothered by other people's opinions. You don't just like them. You're almost obsessed with how effortless they make it look. Jung noticed this pattern too. Sometimes the shadow doesn't appear as something we hate. It appears as something we envy. And envy is often just longing wearing a different mask. Now, here's the open loop worth sitting with for a moment. If your shadow is built from traits you had to suppress to survive, then the people who trigger you the most are actually pointing directly at your unmet needs. But knowing this creates a strange problem. If you start doing the very thing that used to get you punished, resting, speaking up, feeling openly, will the world actually let you? Or will old consequences return? Keep that question in mind. We'll come back to it. There's a fifth sign, quieter than the rest. You judge people harshly for wanting things, money, recognition, attention, while insisting you don't care about any of that yourself. Jung was especially interested in this kind of denial, because the stronger someone insists they don't want something, the more likely that desire is buried, not absent. If ambition in others makes you uncomfortable, ask whether you were taught that wanting things made you selfish, or unlovable, or too much. So let's return to that open loop. What happens if you actually let the suppressed trait back out? Jung's answer wasn't comforting in a simple way, but it was honest. He believed some old environments really will punish you for changing. Not everyone claps when you set a boundary for the first time. Not everyone celebrates when you finally rest without guilt. But Jung's deeper claim was this: the goal was never to be accepted by the old environment. The goal was to stop needing its approval to feel whole. The discomfort you feel when you reclaim a suppressed trait isn't proof you're doing something wrong. It's proof you're finally doing something different. Here is the key reveal, the part that changes how you use everything you just heard. Jung didn't believe the goal was to eliminate your shadow. He believed the goal was integration, taking the traits you buried and finding a healthy, controlled version of them in your own life. Not becoming arrogant, but allowing yourself real confidence. Not becoming careless, but allowing yourself honest rest. Not becoming reckless with emotion, but allowing yourself to feel without performing composure. The irritation you feel toward others isn't a character flaw in you. It's a map. It shows you exactly which parts of yourself are still waiting to be let back in. So the next time someone irritates you for reasons that feel bigger than the moment deserves, pause before you judge them. Ask what part of you might be reacting, not just to them, but to a version of yourself you were never allowed to become. That single question can turn irritation into insight. If this made you think of someone, or maybe made you think of yourself, comment the trait that irritates you the most, and will help you trace where it might really come from. And if you want to understand the other side of this pattern, the traits we don't suppress but project entirely onto others, that's coming in a video very soon.